On behalf of BL, the Federation of Social Housing Organizations in Denmark, I'd like to welcome you to Copenhagen, and I hope you'll feel my welcome a bit brighter, a bit warmer than the weather. Also, I want to thank Segodas for great cooperation. Together, we have done our best to make the next day as interesting as possible. And I hope that today's conference will be inspiring. And now it's my task to tell you about the Danish social housing model. And I need to do my best to shorten down 160 years of tradition and practice. You have given me 15 minutes. That means 900 seconds. That means I have about 5 to 6 seconds for each year. So it will be shortened down, I promise. But it started in 1853 when cholera raged in Copenhagen and threatened to kill a large amount of the working class. The poor living conditions pushed the establishment of the first Danish housing organization. The aim was less density, more air, and better sanitary conditions. However, the financial structure of these housing organizations was ownership, and this brought along speculation. And after a crack in Danish economy and the housing market in 1908, this structure was abandoned in favor of a solidary housing system. This system became a vital part in the construction of the Danish welfare society from the 1930s and onwards. Today, our members count more than 600 housing organizations that all have the same organizational structure. All in all, they manage more than 8,000 housing estates, or about 20% of the total housing market. We build homes for families, youth, disabled and elders, including nursing homes. And in short, our sector is built upon 3 main pillars. First, we are non-profit. This means that rents equal operating, maintenance, and capital costs. Second, we have a strong tenant democracy. This means that tenants have a legal right to influence their own living conditions. And third, we have a stable financial model. This means that public subsidies are associated to the construction costs, but not the running costs. A very important feature in the Danish model is our national building fund. The financing is based on the Danish mortgage system, but when the loans are repaid, the rents are not reduced accordingly. Instead, the rent is kept at the same level. And that surplus from that level is divided between the National Building Fund and a local disposition fund in each housing organization. The National Building Fund is therefore a revolving and solidary fund that creates a vital saving for the entire sector. And the National Building Fund supports major renovations, refurbishment, and social development plans. But only when this cannot be financed locally. The local disposition funds are used for minor renovations, improvements, and so on. The system of our revolving funds, combined with broad support for our sector in the Danish Parliament, creates a locked and solid model. And most importantly, it ensures access to finance for necessary development. But the economic crisis is felt also in Denmark. To preserve the political support, it is important for us to demonstrate and communicate that we offer solutions to the challenges of the Danish welfare. We are, so to speak, a part of the solution, not the problem. And actually, we are the seismograph of the welfare society. This is especially the case in our housing area with less privileged families. So we work hard to keep and develop our position as an important contributor to Danish welfare and growth. I guess that many of you know that the social housing sector in Denmark does not exclude. We are not only for the poorest or the most fragile. We are for all in need of affordable housing. However, compared to the rest of the housing market, a larger part of our tenants are vulnerable in one way or another. We believe that inclusion is the way to lift our vulnerable tenants. Social mix keeps inequality in society low and create long-term socio-economic benefits. Therefore, our purpose and aim goes beyond construction buildings. This was one of the basic ideas from the beginning, and it should be like that in the future. This is why we had to focus on the life between the buildings as well. But also because that we are a part of and a reflection of our society. As I mentioned, we are the seismograph society. In general, the crisis is felt harder in our housing areas. Challenges with unemployment and education are more obvious than in the rest of the society. The same goes for health. But this is not surprising news. The surprise comes in our socially most challenged areas. Here, the share of young people attending a higher education has increased faster during the crisis compared to the rest of the society. And the same goes with the crime rate that in many areas has now fallen below the average national level. These are positive examples of how targeted social efforts can contribute to breaking negative social circles. And this is also why I'm happy to support focus on CSR and housing as a responsible sector. And I look forward to the presentation on this topic later in today's program, just as I look forward to hear about how energy renovation in France contribute to growth. Contribute. Isn't that right? Thank you. Tomorrow, many of you will hopefully see a Danish example of energy renovation and how to manage the physical plan and the social plan. You're going to the Golden Rod Park, or as we pronounce it in Danish, Gyldenrigsparken. Has anyone from France, do they feel that I try to explain, to pronounce Gyldenrigsparken? I think not. So let's call it the Golden Rod Park, and I hope you'll have a nice day out there tomorrow. Actually, our sector has been one of the most important contributors to the Danish construction sector during the crisis. The National Building Fund has supported renovations and refurbishment at a historical high level. Much of our old stock has been lifted to modern energy standards with high levels of insulation. And we are continuously experimenting with new ways of energy saving. As a result, we can proudly say that we create jobs, innovation, and energy transition, also during the crisis. And the benefit reaches beyond us, it reaches society. This is our potential and our strongest argument. We are in between civil society, the state, and the private sector, and we can be the missing link that helps preserve human capital. I think this is one of the strongest and most sustainable ways towards economic growth. We have to rethink our role in society, our responsibility, and our potential. Because in Denmark and across Europe, sustainability is more than solar panels and insulation. It is also about security for our tenants and new ways of living together across culture, age, and social status. Setting a frame where all can contribute to society in the best way possible. I think that our sector has the potential to drive sustainable growth. But in Europe, we are small fish in a big sea. We can still improve, and we must still learn. We need to collaborate closer and broader to meet the growth and human challenges of tomorrow. For this, I want to thank Securitas for a common agenda setting across Europe. The sustainable growth potential our sector holds cannot be ignored in the upcoming European elections. Andy Warhol once said, "They always say time changes things, but you actually have to change them yourself." And I couldn't agree more. And this is why I will now welcome and pass the floor to Mr. Jens Thomas Arnfred. And I'm sure you will inspire us all to see the world, and perhaps ourselves, from a new perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you.